Love it. Oh, I
Three.
love that warns me now. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. Because I guess Zoom got in trouble or whatever, and they definitely had to inform people that they were being recorded and all
Oh,
that.
well, I appreciate it. Cool. Well, you started off. Do your thing.
Boom. Three, two, one. Welcome to Content Inspire. I'm your host, Andrew Calvino. And today I have the legend, the badass, Ben Kane. And in all honesty, dude, thank you for being on Content Inspire, for sharing your time, your experience with the listeners. And dude, when I started Content Inspire and you gave me your support from day one, dude, that changed the trajectory of this podcast. So you are a legend, a badass. I appreciate you. And
Thank you.
yeah, listeners, you guys are in for a treat.
I really I didn't realize when I came on the first time that I was like one of the first people on. So I came in like so candidly, but I'm super proud to be. I think, am I the only person to do this twice so far?
Yep, you're the only person to do this
Oh,
twice.
cool. No,
And
I'm excited. I think maybe we should say for everyone that's listening, this like I think a lot of people think these are like planned business things. I literally just texted Andrew, was like, we should catch up. Like this is just us catching up,
yes,
which I'm really excited for. I do a lot of business podcasts. I'm excited to just kick it with you today.
thank you, dude. And yeah, Ben did text me and was like, "Yo, Content Inspire episode 2." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." Because we talk, we FaceTime on the regular and catch up, but this is on air now, so sweet.
Yeah. You
And
have a lot of friends. Like what I like about our friendship, and it's just like kind of you as the person matches my kind of person. But um, we could not talk for a couple weeks, and then we could just like send a voice note and catch up. It doesn't have to be in your ear all the time. That's how you know you're good friends.
yeah, exactly. Plus, I know you're super busy all the time, taking over the world of Price Plow. So yeah.
It's I think we talked a decent amount last time about like content creation, obviously content inspire.
Mhm.
Um, but I still I think I talked about like time management and like learning how to make my own content at that, and I'm still figuring it out. Like obviously because of the type of my content, it ebbs and flows with the industry,
Mhm.
and that was like a big thing for the job and for my learning it this last year, working from home by myself. I'm no longer in an office anymore, so learning to manage my time and learning to create content efficiently was important for me. So
Okay. And I'm gonna drop the first question. Your why is,
my why.
yeah, what is your why?
So my why is so funny because it's so opposite of like what you'd expect. Like I never wanted to work in the supplement industry. Like I
Woo.
was going to Rutgers for dietetics.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be a registered dietitian. I really didn't want to work in a hospital. I wanted to work like outside of a hospital, but most people end up in hospitals. So it was something I kind of understood. But and I ended up working in the supplement industry because I was offered an opportunity to change the supplement industry. So the only reason I took a job in this, I keep saying industry, but in this topic was because I wanted to change the way that it worked. So um, I worked at NutriBio for multiple years, and I worked at some other spots for a little bit. I finally found my spot at Price Plow, and I think I said this on a story the other day. The reason I came to Price Plow, like I should make clear, I had offers at some other nice spots where I'd have like 401k and like benefits and stuff, but instead I'm self-employed right now, was
Mm-hmm.
because I thought that I had more power to change the industry and impact people's lives. So my why is because I am able to improve something for someone. Some days it's teaching someone about calories and macros. Other days it's producing content and changing the way people see regulatory in the industry. But every day I wake up to some sort of message on Instagram thanking me for something that I did, and that's kind of my why to keep going. That feels really good.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me and the listeners, my man. I greatly appreciate that. And so I know it's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah,
Last time I officially saw you was at the TNS Christmas party last year in December.
it's been like 9 months.
Yep. So I have to ask, would Price Plow ever host like an event or a party or anything like that within the industry?
So it's an ongoing joke. Sometimes I feel bad because Mike and I are like extremely close friends. We've been for a long time. We have some really funny jokes that go on, but Mike isn't very in tune on social. So a
Mhm.
lot of it doesn't make it to the public eye. But we have this joke about organizing the Sturgis of supplements. Are you familiar with Sturgis?
Sturgis, yeah.
Sturgis is for people who don't know, it's a like a big motorcycle, mostly Harley Davidson, but you could call it an expo, but it's really just a bunch of guys at this place called Sturgis. And we've had this really fun idea. We thought about, actually at one point we were really close to partnering up with Glaxon for it,
Mhm.
and wanted to make it a retreat. You know, you're familiar with the idea where we wanted to do like an invite only, not really invite only, but like good people. You know, like you
Mhm.
saw at the TNS party, there were a lot of good people that were invited that
Right.
weren't just from South Carolina. And the idea didn't go very far, but we had a lot of cool ideas of how to make a very special retreat. But right now, currently, with you know, whatever your feelings are on what's going on in the world right now, I won't say the words because I hear it messes you up with platforms, but with the
Mhm.
current environment of travel and worries about health and all, whether or not you believe in it, other people believe in it, and it would be hard to get that many people together, I think, right now. So we've put that aside for a little bit for now, but it is a super cool idea. I love bringing people together.
Yeah, if you guys ever do have the opportunity to do an event, count me in because I would go in a
Oh,
heartbeat.
of
Sweet.
course, yeah.
Um,
Um,
dude, and just what has your opinion regarding the supplement industry? Has it changed from now to when you started?
oh, every day it changes. I thought you know what's so funny? Like you think you know everything about something that you do every day, and I'm always learning more. Every day I feel like I know less about it. It's pretty crazy. I think like my biggest realization this year is like you know, we talk about the industry, we talk about all this stuff, but like what's been really crazy for me is realizing if I didn't have a cell phone, I wouldn't know any of these people. You know, like you deal with a lot of negativity every here and there, and I every when I have to deal with that kind of stuff, most recently I've backed off and been like, if I didn't have a cell phone or a laptop, I would have no clue this person that's calling me names online even exists. Like they don't have an impact on my life. They don't change anything, right? And not to like belittle those people, but um how much does that really matter? I guess I default to negativity with that kind of stuff. That's not kind of that's not very fair, but there
Mhm.
across the industry, a lot of this stuff is so blown up by social media, whether good or for worse. You know, for ourselves, it gives us power because we're able to create a platform, right? What would Content Inspire be without the internet? It wouldn't be anything.
Correct.
Um, there's so many different ways to take this. You know, I learn a lot of regulatory stuff. It's kind of one of the main things that I talk a lot about. Um, but it's completely different depending on really where you consider my beginning. When I worked at GNC, when I worked at Vitamin Shop, when I worked at NutriBio, it's grown in waves for myself. But maybe one of the biggest other things outside of industries and communities was my perspective on innovation and ingredients. On the innovation side, if you had asked me when I was at Vitamin Shop or NutriBio what I considered innovation to be, I would consider it new ingredients, new sports data, new stuff like that. But your buddies at Ghost proved me very wrong there. Innovation can be so much more. I've learned it could be experience from a product. It could be new flavor collabs. I mean, there's a reason I have Gamer and Swedish Fish on my desk right here, right? You've got Sour Patch Kids right there, right?
Yep.
Um, now, are there innovations in these things outside of the flavor? Absolutely. New Level in Gamer, I think Gamer was the first product to have New Level. Your Can it's one of the first RTDs with full dosage of focus ingredients. I mean, how cool is that, right? But
Mhm.
if you go to your local store and you ask a kid that's drinking one what they like about it most, they'll probably tell you the Sour Patch flavor, you know, and that's a innovation in experience. So I think this a very good mentor of mine, Mark Glazier, said that right now the industry is in a renaissance period. We are moving in so many different directions. There's so many different things happening. And what's really cool is you could have folk that both appreciate good science and a flavor, an exciting development in just flavor. So there's so much changing. It's happening so quickly. It's quite exciting.
Boom. So on a personal note, the question that I asked you was like, what was your view has changed within the supplement
Mm,
industry? Me answering that same question is like, when you're on the outside looking in, it's a huge industry,
yeah.
absolutely huge. There's no chance that everybody knows each other, but surprise, surprise,
Yep.
it is a, when you find out that somebody knows somebody and they know somebody else,
Yeah.
it's insane.
It's pretty funny. Glazier calls me the bouncer of the industry because if you want to know anyone, I can get you there. Um, and I don't know. I think we get a lot of comments asking like why we get free product or why we get beta samples, why we get stuff before others. But it's all about networking. Your exact point
Mhm.
right there. It's a huge industry. That companies pop up every single day, but there's someone that's stringing it all together. And that's been really the journey for me is seeing behind the curtains. And maybe that's also a bit a part of my why as well. Is I think that everyone should be able to see behind the scenes, and I try to expose that as much as possible. Maybe expose is a bad word. That sounds negative, but I try to share the experience with as many people as possible.
Okay. You're trying to open up the curtains and show the behind the scenes work even more in regards to the manufacturing process, ingredient formulation, file, who's running behind the scenes. Like
Yeah.
if it's a good person, a good brand with a good product, they're on Price Plow. Simple as
Some of
that.
my most popular pieces of content over the last 2 years have been me traveling to headquarters. I went to Glaxon headquarters and showed their manufacturing, their science, their thought process, their actual people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's so much that normal consumers don't get to do, and I have the unique opportunity to be able to be there. End of this month, I'm going to Supply Side East. It's an expo in New Jersey, actually,
Mm-hmm.
for it's like the Olympia of ingredients. And 2 years ago, the last time that they had West in Vegas, I did a vlog there where I showed people behind the scenes of what ingredient and companies look like at these things and how it differs from like your Arnold or your Olympia. And that was actually one of my most popular videos ever because people got to see what it's like to be behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
But this proverbial curtain is really a huge expo hall at the Mandalay Bay. It's massive, but no one goes. But it's cool because you'll see me, walking through this expo, shaking hands with some different ingredient companies, and all of a sudden, I'm with Holden and Wilkie.
Yep.
And
I remember.
it's like, wait, I thought Ghost was just the kids in the skinny jeans, like drinking Sour Patch Kids. No, no, they're here. Drew from Dragon Pharma is here. Everyone meets up here, and it's like this meeting of the minds that, whether you're from the lifestyle side or the more heavier hardcore side, we all end up here looking for ingredients. So I try to share that as much as possible so that other people can be involved.
Okay. And then dropping another quick question your way is, why do you think brands still to this day use prop blends?
Uh, it's a multi-pronged question because you have people who legitimately think it protects them because they have this very hard researched blend of ingredients that they want to be protected. So a lot of these people will say, I need to protect my formula because people will steal it. These small brands think that these large brands are copying them, which I find so ironic, so hilarious, because you're talking about a brand that does $500,000 a year. But like their proprietary ingredient blend is supposedly so valuable that a brand that's like $100 million has to copy them. When you realize that these brands that make these huge products could employ research and development scientists, they could fund their own research, they could make their own products. I think that most companies using prop blends are using it to one of two things: disguise crappy formulas
Mm-hmm.
and show something that doesn't look quite as bad. Or two, they're saving money on testing. You put stuff in a proprietary blend, you no longer have a label claim for that product. You no longer need to test it to prove that. One theory from Mike, founder and owner of Price Plow, is that if you have a proprietary blend, that the first run, the spread of ingredients is a certain way. On the second couple of runs, you can change the dosages of the ingredients, and as long as they're still in the proper order, nobody will know you're making the product cheaper.
Damn. Yep.
There's a lot of different ways that you can fudge the system with this stuff. And it's not always just it's a crappy formula. There's other, there's a lot of levels to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I do have to give a shout out to James, aka Impel, who basically spends his hard-earned money in regards to testing the products to make sure
Oh
that
yeah.
what's on the label is on the label, what you're paying for, because he's putting his money where his mouth is. So
Yeah.
props
Yeah.
there.
James does an awesome job. And James is one of those brands that is, around the same size currently. Not, I think James is a beautiful future in the industry, but he's in the same discussions and the same size as those other companies that are complaining about brands copying them or whatever. James, instead of complaining, is putting his time into working. I see the guy posting 4 a.m. at the gym so he can get up early and start training and then do his work afterwards. Like he's not complaining about stuff. He's putting the work in, constantly posting his testing. I love that part of his content.
Yeah, and he's so open with his community that he's building in regards to sending certain like fans or supporters of his brand like the actual samples of the
Yeah.
protein or whatever, and just they're like, give me the feedback, just let me know.
Yeah.
And then I also see him on the weekends freaking killing it at like booths or expos, this, that,
Yes.
you name it, shows. So he's doing like a grassroots and trying to do it his own way. So props to him.
Reminds me of a early Ghost style stuff.
Mhm.
Like, because very early on, Ghost was also sharing similar things about the amount of money that they would spend on different efforts. Like, I don't know if you know this. If you watch one of the early Olympia videos, they talked about their whole budget for the Olympia. They told you how much it cost, which is ridiculous. It's crazy. James is very open about the money he spends on testing and what that takes away from his marketing funds. He shows all of the demos that he does himself. He doesn't have a team that goes and does shit. He does it himself.
Yeah. I think the one thing that, at least in my opinion, why I've stuck with Ghost for so long is one, the products are badass.
Mm.
The label, the OG Blue Raspberry Graffiti Legend, caught my eye at GNC. That changed the game. And then when I went on the YouTube channel, and they were just so open in regards to the whole entire process of trying to get into another country, trying to set up for Olympia or the 12 a.m. run, or just doing it their own way. So it's something that I hadn't seen in a long, long time. So
the kind of transparency is hard to come by, and a lot of times you see brands that are quote unquote transparent, but they're only showing you the things they want to show you, right?
Yeah.
Ghost has been pretty transparent in showing things that did not go the way that they wanted them to and still ended up winning. One of the stories that comes to mind, and I hate to speak for them, but it was one of the ones that I love thinking of is when they ran those scoop neck shirts and they ran the wrong size. I don't know who screwed it up. It was the manufacturer in China or what, but the scoop ended up being an inch lower where it was supposed to be. And so they ended up being like these like super deep cut shirts, and they still sold them. They still everyone loved them. And Ghost is so transparent on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man, that's damn. I could just talk about Ghost all day, but I'm gonna
Let's
drop
not
another. I'm gonna drop another quick question your way. Is what is your favorite energy drink? I know that a lot of Red, White, and Boom from America Labs or America Energy. Let me see what other energy drinks have been out lately.
No matter what I answer here, I'm gonna get a text message.
Ooh.
It's like seasonal for me, like I hate to say it, but like it's like with the drops, it's whatever is like going on right now. Like right now, I cannot wait to run outside and go see if my Bubblicious is outside. Like I'm very excited for that.
Ooh.
But most recently it's been the Victory, the cream soda flavor of Red, White, and Boom. And I think one of the reasons for that is because you have very strong flavors, and I become obsessed with them. Like when the blue SPK Ghost Energy came out, like I had to drink it all the time.
Yep.
But it's like listening to your favorite song on repeat in the gym for like 3 weeks straight. Like eventually you can't listen to it anymore. But in the future, it can become a healthy part of your rotation. So right now, I'd say I'm drinking the most of that Victory, the cream soda. But if I'm in a store that has an SPK or a mango, I will definitely pick that up.
Okay, nice, awesome, sweet. And
But
then
how lucky are we right now that like I was joking about this. Well, let's give them a shout out. Fitness Informant came out with their RTD guide last night for
yeah,
pre-workouts.
I saw that.
And you know, you could nitpick over like the different formulas, but pretty much every single formula on that um top list like deserved to be of the year. Like they were not all that different. They were all top picks.
Mhm.
Um, and so how lucky are we that right now, if you go into a reputable store, if you go into TNS, like a store that's doing the right thing, and you throw a dart blindfolded, you're probably gonna hit something pretty good. Like most stores are stocking all the right stuff, and it's hard to go wrong.
You're right about that. So TNS and Jacob absolutely killing it, and a lot of the standards within the industry have just
Yeah.
gotten to the level that if you go into a supplement store, you're going to end up with a good quality product that at least helps you get closer to reaching your goals. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like 20, 30 years ago when you like freaking walk into a store and it's just garbage. Oh,
I think there are even worse stores that long ago, like really recently, it's things have really gotten so good.
yeah. And then this is just, I'm going to drop another quick question your way is, has Animal brought you on as a consultant, bro?
No, no. I'm just gonna keep bringing that up until someday, maybe. Someday, maybe.
You know what? I'm gonna make another Instagram account, another Twitter. I'm gonna have nothing associated with me. I'm just gonna tag Animal every single day. Ben Kane, Ben Kane, talk to Ben Kane, talk to Ben Kane, motherfuckers. Like,
They're like a family owned company. Like they're very traditional, and they've been around since 76, I think it was.
jeez.
Um, they know what works for them, but
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever watched Mad Men, but
Hell to
one of
the
my one of my favorite shows of all time, and that's the ongoing thing, is that Don Draper always wants to work with Coke, which, I mean, if you're an ad guy, that makes sense. It's just for me, like I grew up on Animal. I grew up I had their posters on my walls. I had just so much love for them. And
Mhm.
someday, I mean, just getting to work with them is a dream. I get to their manufacturing facility is not far from here. I drop by there when I need to pick up product. They're right next to my gym, and it's just so cool being involved. But maybe someday I'll get to work on a campaign or a formula with them.
Hopefully, man. I'm rooting for you to make that happen on the real. And still to this day, I'll remember seeing posters of Evan Centopani or
Oh
Fred
yeah,
Rats. And yeah, that brand is legendary, dude.
those
And
guys were like bigger than life.
mm,
Like they really did a good job making them seem like just everything. Like that was who you aspired to be. I think these days it's definitely like the Christian Guzmans that people want to be. But back at that point, not to put down Christian Guzman. He's very aesthetic. He's
mhm.
definitely like what most people want to look like now. But dude, when I was 19 years old, I wanted 20-inch forearms like Frank McGrath. Like
Yeah,
that was it.
that was back then opening up muscular development and seeing the
Yeah.
muscle tech ads for when they had everyone. They had Branch Warren, Phil Heath, Jay
They had Jay
Cutler, the
Cutler.
whole entire team.
Yeah.
Just monsters, dude. Like, yeah, it was a different
Yeah.
time back then.
Dude,
Where
talk about influencer marketing, right? Like Jay Cutler, like that was it. That's where you got that was like he was the dude. He was the biggest thing about in bodybuilding. And how things have changed now. I mean, Jay is still a really popular name. He's still obviously, one of the greatest of all times in bodybuilding. But when you look at the consumers of supplements, it is so much bigger than bodybuilding now.
Mhm. Well, talking about that in regards to influencer brands,
Yeah.
um, Greg Doucette's supplement brand, HTLT, an influencer brand that, at least on my end, didn't live up to hype. Why do you think that certain influencer brands like normally don't do well in the market?
Well, I think Greg kind of proved it himself in his video. He was like, he had someone else formulate it for him, and it didn't live up to the standards that he wanted. Ironically, I was net positive on his pre-workout.
Mhm.
Um, however, it's a really lucky thing that I didn't look at his fat burner before I did that video, because the fat burner really was where it fell short. Um, but I
Yeah.
mean, like it comes down to it being a cash grab, right? Like you want, yeah, you're an online trainer or an influencer or whatever. You're a personality online. You may not have time. I mean, like if you remove the whole entrepreneur having time thing, like whatever, you may not have time to spend formulating, working with the manufacturer to have everything in stock, actually fulfilling the orders. So someone else takes your name, you license the name to them. They do all of the work. You get a certain cut out of it, and everyone, supposedly wins. But in this case, I do think Greg is a pretty ethical, moral person. I think he's a pretty good dude, and I think I have to at least applaud him realizing that it wasn't going to go the way he wanted it to and pulling it back. I definitely think it shows that he really didn't care enough to do anything in the beginning, but I'll at least applaud him for having the balls to pull it and start something over.
Okay. Yeah.
That's some accountability, right? Like I mean, we all want everyone to do the right thing. This is I'll say it here, Al. This has been something that been bouncing in my brain for a little bit. It's like doing the right thing in the supplement industry is like a really big. It's like pretty much every conversation that I have boils down to do the right thing.
Mhm.
Whether it's from not copying licenses, like a ghost topic, right, or down to
Mhm.
creating compliant products that do not break the regulations and supplements, all the way down to just being honest with your following. Because even if, like, let me ask you as a consumer, right? Because I have my own thoughts, but if Greg had gone forward with a formula that he did not manufacture, he did not formulate, he was not involved, and he was just slapping his name on it, even if it was a fine formula, I would still consider that unethical. If you're slapping someone's name on it, like, would you consider that to be less than ethical?
I would consider it to be less than ethical, but I know the game of the
Right.
supplement industry that if you reach a certain amount of popularity, followers, you name it. Let's say Ben, you get 1 million followers on IG. Then you have a company that reaches you that says, "Hey, we can put your name on X product, sell it
Mm-hmm.
for you, manufacture it. You get this percentage of the cut, and we do all the work."
Right.
That's the name of the game, right? But the only issue is you're putting your name, your reputation, everything on the line. And
Yeah.
me and you, we would do things differently. Other individuals, if you're just doing a quick cash grab, if it works for you, awesome, great. If not,
Mm-hmm.
shit backfires.
I mean, like, I think it's really important, and I don't really know if I ever stress this enough on my content, but there is so much work that goes into properly doing this,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a hard thing to convey, but you see it in brands, and I don't bring this up enough because it's unfortunate because you have very, very passionate people who come out with a line that they, have spent months formulating and negotiating and saving up to put their money into, and then they get it and it shows up, and there are spelling mistakes on the label. There are regulatory issues in the actual facts panel. There's all sorts of stuff that we could call out and be like, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. And there's no way that you would know half of these problems if you were coming into the industry. Um, I don't know. I assume Dan listens to these occasionally, but this is a topic that Dan and I talk about all the time. We're talking about people that really think that they deserve to own a supplement company. And it sounds kind of like entitled to say, but not
Mm-hmm.
everyone deserves to own a company. Like if you don't know how to properly and ethically do things by the book, I feel like we're better off without that company. And it kind of feels unfortunate because a lot of these brands are owned by very passionate CEOs, people that love the industry, love bodybuilding or fitness or whatever, but if you aren't testing your products to make sure that they are at least safe, if not, meeting label claim, which is the law, you know, people talk really big about people that do the testing, forget that it's actually required by law. If you can't do that as a base, then who are you to create a community of people that trust you with their health and wellness?
Okay. Yeah,
So it influencer brands, you'll hear me joke about in my story, like another one. I think if you watch that Greg video, like the beginning of the video is like, yeah, we got another one, like another freaking influencer brand. Um,
yeah.
at least that pre-workout wasn't all that bad, but I don't know. I'll applaud him for at least pulling the cord and doing something better. But I think we can all agree that it's a good example of someone who should have done it the right way.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving me your input and experience regarding influencer brands. Also, you posted on your story on your own personal page,
Oh God.
Gymshark. Gymshark
Oh,
coming out with a supplement brand, or at least teasing that something was
oh
in there.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, I've thought about that for a hot minute because I'm just there like, Jesus.
By a
Gym,
hot minute. I think you mean like a year.
yeah, literally. I
Wow.
still
I
remember that to
forgot.
this day. I still remember that to this day because I'm literally talking to individuals that I'm like, okay, Gymshark athletes. And then when they drop their supplement line, if they ever are going to do that,
Yeah.
that's gonna change the game, or at least the industry as a whole, because there's so many conflict of interests out there.
Right.
That's
Well,
literally,
I
yeah.
mean, that's part of the, I mean, that's part of what being an influencer creates an issue for, because you want to own your own brand, right? Like there is no issue here. I'm gonna make clear before I make this point, but bringing it up, I think, is an important part of this. Like Guzman owns 3D. Guzman is sponsored by Ghost. Ghost also has an RTD, right?
Hmm.
You how often do you see 3D and Ghost Energy in the same refrigerator? I mean, I don't know in Chicago, but like over here, I see them next to each other in a lot of gym freezers, you know,
Hmm.
and so that can create an issue. Obviously, in this case, it doesn't, because let's go back to this catchphrase before. Dan does things right the right
Yeah.
way, you know, um, but a lot of people don't do things the right way, and so being a Gymshark sponsored athlete, but also owning your own company in dietary supplements, if they come out with a supplement, that's gonna be a problem.
Yep, it will be a problem, a conflict of interest, you name it. And but at the end of the day, if things are handled professionally and things are
Yeah,
handled done the right way, then it shouldn't be an issue at all. But
it should not.
yeah. Ooh,
Yeah, it's a tough spot, man. And
yep.
I mean, my question is like, why do we need a Gymshark supplement company?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
'Cause I think Ben Francis, aka the one that owns a certain percentage of Gymshark, sat down and was like, you know what? Our clothes are great. Our clothes are awesome. We're basically competing with Nike, Adidas, this and that. But why don't we just start a supplement line? Why not? And keep everything in house. Uh,
yeah,
they'll have to make they'll have to modify their contracts and take care of their athletes and ambassadors in a different aspect
yeah.
moving forward if they do that. But yeah,
It's unfortunate, but it's part of the business. And as long as everything's buttoned up, it'll go well on that side. On my side, not even worrying about the influencers and the conflict of interests. Just like I'm always just like, why do we need another company? We don't. Like we have billions of fucking industry companies. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this podcast, but
you're allowed to curse. You're allowed to curse,
it comes out so easily.
bro.
So for me, it's I don't think we need anymore, you know?
Oh, um, a mainstream CPG brand, Snickers, make
Yeah.
their own protein.
Oh yeah.
What do you
This
think?
isn't exactly new. I will say
Yeah,
that too. You
not
know, it
new,
has happened
but
before.
it's
But I mean the positive spin to put on it is that Snickers doing it normalizes it for us, right?
mhm.
Um, and it wasn't even all that bad. There was like a little bit of sugar in it, but um, I don't know. I don't think that stuff really dilutes our market at all as much. I think like Gymshark getting in the equation dilutes the industry. But I think first of all, a protein is not exactly weird. You know, like there's tons of different proteins. There's always been powdered proteins. Um, I don't really have much else to add to it. I think why that's one thing to say is that I don't think Ghost will be doing a Hershey protein now that Hershey has their own protein. Or was it Snickers?
It was Snickers. So
Snickers,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
know. I don't know if Hershey's is in the mix in Mondelez or not, but basically, I don't know. I think Snickers. safe bet in regards to protein, see the response within the market. And if they want to make something else, cool, awesome, sweet. But I think it adds to the legitimacy of the supplement industry if a mainstream
Yeah.
global license such as Snickers got into the mix.
Well, this is part of like the better for you category,
Mhm.
right? It's not bad for you. You know, it has some sugar in there. It's not great for you. It's better for you. It's better than eating Snickers, right? It tastes like a Snicker, but there's a little bit of sugar in there, but it
Yeah.
has that protein leveraging, right? So that kind of stuff I think elevates our market. I don't think that they will ever make the leap from protein to aminos or pre, but I think it help. I think it only helps us is a good way to put it.
Okay. And then let's talk about Unbound. What was,
Unbound.
yep, Unbound. So Unbound supplements. What was your role as either a consultant or just specifically from Price Plow? Like what was your role with Unbound?
So through Price Plow, um,
Hmm.
also from but on my own sometimes, but most often through Price Plow, we are active as consultants. So we come in and offer our, you know, recommendations based on our expertise in a multitude of different places. It could be from marketing. It could be sometimes we just research for people. We have brands that just say, I have this ingredient. I don't know if I want to use it or not. Can you look it up for me? And on some very fun occasions, I get to work with the formulating teams at companies to help suggest ingredients and dosages and synergies. In this case, I had a really great opportunity to sit down with myself, Mark Glazier, so an old mentor of mine, an old boss of mine, who's now a very good friend of mine, and one other consultant, Robert Shinetsky, the supplement engineer.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but we got to sit down over the course of this took a long time. You know, a lot of credit to Mark. He took a lot of time to put together what he considered to be the right way to launch Unbound. And we put together what would be, I think, most kindly referred to as, in Mark's words, the wish list pre-workouts, you know, and the wish lists supplements in general.
Hmm.
I think those were his like exact words at the beginning. Were like, "Give me a wish list pre-workout. Like, if you could add whatever you wanted to it, what would it be?" And so Robert and I were able to help put together a line here. I'm being very careful to not take like credit for stuff because we all were working together.
Hmm.
My specific role was a little more heavily into finding interesting ingredients. Mark has been in the industry for close to 30 years. And as his companies and roles have expanded, he admittedly has been less on the side of finding new ingredients. And so because of my role at Price Plow, I get to interface with a lot of interesting companies that, you know, might bring me a new ingredient that isn't out to market yet or something like that. And so because of that, I had a few unique ingredients that if you look through, like for instance, Unload from Unbound is a very interesting pre-workout that has like, I think like upwards of 10 trademarked ingredients, like a
Hmm.
lot of really interesting odd stuff. Not odd sounds negative, but like just like out of the box type stuff. And so I was part of that kind of side, and Robert was really helpful in finding data to support some synergies. Robert is a like a workhorse when it comes to researching uh, ingredients. So the two of us and Glazier were able to put together a really interesting, I think, innovative, new to industry type of line.
Okay. And so thanks for sharing that with me and the listeners. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, I know that we talk off air about a lot of
Mm.
things, but just sharing your experience within the industry to the listeners, I know that this is like just awesome for them. So thank you, dude.
Yeah, they're having a really good time with it. It was one of the most fun things I've done in the industry, getting to be. I mean, we do I don't want to say a lot of consulting. We do a fair amount of consulting, the amount that we can fit into each month with our other projects going on. But we're often, making suggestions that don't always go listened to. But Mark trusted us a lot and gave us some really cool assignments of different products that I think, at the very least, pace with the top of the industry, if not being um, innovative or special on their own. The pre-workout um, is unlike any other experience that I've had in pre-workout. I'll say, a lot of times when people think of pre-workout, they think of like very, very high stim, hardcore. It went a little bit more into a euphoric mood and focus pre-workout, which was kind of fun to do. It has a very, very cool industry new ingredient called Rodeo Prime, which is a rhodiola extract that most often you see rhodiola high in rosavins, but this is higher in salidrosides, which does a really cool job of, if you're familiar with theanine, is put in a lot of pre-workouts to kind of combat the harshness of caffeine. And we theorized, Mark, Robert, and I theorized that using rhodiola instead of theanine would give you that same smoothing effect for stimulants, because Unload has an extra, which is alpina galenga. It has xynamite. It has 450 milligrams of caffeine, and a few other slightly stimulating things. We wanted to kind of smooth that without sedating you. And we had multiple beta testers take it without knowing there was 450 milligrams of caffeine in it, and not know there's 450 milligrams of caffeine in it. So I felt that we accomplished a really good job of giving you a high stim pre-workout that doesn't give you the negatives of high stim pre-workouts.
Okay. And then now that we were talking about the caffeine dosages, I know that a lot of individuals try to stray away from high caffeine or caffeine dosages of 600, 800, 1,000 milligrams a day, right? So
Yeah.
what is your like sweet spot in regards to like caffeine daily dosage? And
So
I know you edit a lot. I know that you record a fuck ton of videos. I know that you do a lot, dude. So
I'm weird. I'll be really honest with you. I wake up in the morning. So I'll be transparent here. I have recently accomplished becoming addicted to coffee. Like, that is a new thing for me. I drink a lot of coffee now. I think I was joking with you about that the other day, but traditionally, up until recently, I did not consume any caffeine in the morning. I was not a caffeine person. I liked to allow myself to kind of wake up, and that wasn't for any sort of noble reason and not liking caffeine or anything. It was just, I just didn't drink caffeine. I was never brought up doing that. And so for me, it was most often my sweet spot in terms of like what I can think of is 600 milligrams of caffeine pre-workout. I love, like, 600 is like my spot. But I also like so you some Yohimbi and stuff in there too, which can make it feel like a little bit more than just caffeine.
okay.
And then usually I work out around like 4:30 in the afternoon. And almost every single night, I'll play Warzone with one of my best friends, Tony, and I'll usually drop a 2 scoop of gamer then. So it's not a lot of caffeine, but it gets the job done. It's honest work.
Nice. Sweet. And then talking about streaming, is Price Plow ever going to have its own streaming channel, or you have your own streaming channel, camera on, and being as toxic as you want?
Dude, it's so tough for me because I built this whole PC as a tax write-off, really honestly, but
Nice.
it's like, I told myself I can stream with it, right? It's an editing, machine, but it can stream. And I keep telling myself, like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start it. And then 9 o'clock rolls around. I'm getting on with my friends, and my friends are not, I hate calling myself an influencer, but they don't make content. They're not, they're just dudes that I work out with. And the thought of like me being over here, like, hey, thanks for the subscribe, like while my friends are like with me, like I may seem very outgoing on my content because that's like the character I present for that. But the truth is, in person, I'm not really all that. I don't like being that way. I don't like the other day I was at my gym and there was a supplement company. The owner was there giving out samples, and he walked up and he was like, I feel like I know you from somewhere. Like, I feel like I've seen you online. And I was like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Like, I really don't like playing that up. And in front of my friends, like, I will get embarrassed about it. I feel like I still have like some imposter syndrome when it comes to like what I do, and I think I'm relatively good at it. But so to answer your question, I would love to. I would really like to stream because I love playing video games. Before Call of Duty, it was I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft. I grew up on Zelda and Nintendo.
Yeah.
I've always been a video game person, but the commitment to like being a streamer and presenting that, like being that personality where you gotta like pay attention to people watching and stuff it's just so not me. And especially not me in front of my friends when we're trying to communicate and kill people in Warzone. So I'd love to. Honestly, I really would like to. I can't. Like, I have OBS on my computer. I have the whole stream set up and everything. I have the Twitch account. I just have to press stream, and I just haven't done it yet.
Okay. Well,
I would love to. I would love to hear because I don't talk to any streamers. I would love to talk to someone who would tell me like why I should do that. Because obviously like Ricky streams, right? All sorts of people stream. How many of those people were originally friends with other streamers who made them feel like it was normal? I don't think like people start streaming together,
no, I don't think people start streaming together, but I think at the end of the day, if you enjoy it and at least you're able to make that transition from like gaming for fun, gaming while streaming, but still having a fun time,
Yeah.
you would easily make that transition, like easily, in my opinion. Plus, if you ever need any advice, dude, Dan, Ryan, Ricky,
Yeah.
Taylor, Joe Perry Carter, you name it. So many people that would just love to like either play with you or just see you streaming, support.
Yeah.
I don't stream because I'm a toxic motherfucker. Just being honest with you. Like I would get banned. I would get banned so quick. And but I would love to support you on a stream, dude.
So let me make this case as well. This is like kind of the other side of it too. When I'm playing, I will admit I deal with a decent amount of stress. I think you and I have talked about this privately before. Like I stress a decent amount. At the end of the day, when I get to like sit down and relax and play games with my friends, like that is my way of just letting loose and relaxing. And this thought process of having responsibilities of a stream or watching what I say or having to entertain people view, like, does that make sense to you? Like, it's not relaxing anymore. It's not therapy anymore. And I actually really like your second half of what you're saying there, like being able to get on stream with like Dan and like Joe Perry Carter, like other friends who play games and maybe relatable to Ghost or the industry or stuff. One of my first ideas was streaming with people from the industry and it not being about industry stuff, like dropping in with Greg Helton or Drew Peters and not talking about supplements and just shooting the shit, Yeah.
Now that you brought that up, let's talk about the Dude Sweat podcast.
The Dude Sweat podcast is exactly what I just said without the streaming and video gaming. It's just a podcast that we probably will likely mention supplement stuff just because it's what we do all day long. But the fact of the matter is, well, I mean, let's dial it back. The Dude Sweat podcast is myself, Greg Helton, Darren Decker, and Nick Karalekas. So Greg Helton is I'm gonna mess everyone's titles up here because titles don't matter to me because they're my friends. But Greg Helton is like I think he's vice president and a partner at Rise. Nick Karalekas is I think a vice president of VMI. If not, he's something really big. And I'm sorry, Nick. And Darren Decker is a vice president of sales for Cage Muscle. And we've all been intertwined for some years now. When Nick was at MFit, I worked with him a lot. Greg and I have worked together through a few different things. And Darren has actually never met anyone else in the group in person except for me because I flew out to Boise one year and made friends with him. So we are all just kind of intertwined with our friendships, and we are all very similar in mindsets in terms of mental health and morals and ethics and the kinds of things that we do with our time. But we are all in different parts of our lives. Darren is married with a kid. Greg is engaged. Nick and I are not. We're a little bit like behind them. And so it's kind of morphed into being this very fun idea of just a lot of it's going to be men's mental health, I think. Because that's like an underrepresented topic in the industry in the world. But just kind of like dudes, like just dudes chilling. One motto that we kind of were working out on was like, locker room in 2021, actually, I wouldn't say politically correct because we're not politically correct, but like, reasonable dude talk. That's like it be anything from mental health, like healthy stuff, down to, I don't talk about sports, but I'm sure it's going to come up, or like career advice, building yourself, being an entrepreneur, being self-employed, all that kind of stuff. And it hasn't launched yet. We're still putting together. As of right now, it is Thursday, August 5th, and Greg Helton has still not made the logo for it. But we're figuring it out and we're moving forward. So I'm super excited about it. It originally was just going to be a supplement podcast, and then we realized we had so much more to offer the world than just talking about supplements.
Dude, at the end of the day, I have a feeling it's going to be a badass podcast. So when that starts, you have my support, hands down.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think I currently do the Price Plow podcast on a regular basis, right? I did SIRS last year, which ended up not working out, but I think we proved that, we can make things that fare well. And so we are all avid watchers of Joe Rogan, and we love that idea that like we could talk about anything, whether it's like weird alien shit or like, DMT and mushrooms, like whatever it is. Like, I think that the four of us, most people will find one of us or a few of us they relate to. And I think it's going to be a fun podcast. I'm very excited for it, admittedly.
Yeah, no, I'm certainly very excited for it. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to when that officially launches. I'm going to drop another quick question your way is,
sure.
How do you handle stress and work-life balance?
I don't.
You don't? Yeah, I know. Trust me.
I don't. Oh, that's the honest answer. Anyone who actually knows me, I'll be a little bit like open here. Anyone who actually knows me, I don't handle it very well. But the ways that I do include just getting away from things. My biggest realization in the last year, because I used to like all of my work is on my phone. Like I used to be like in my Instagram DMs constantly answering, constantly like checking comments, responding to people that are just unkind, and that stuff would occupy my mind. And it took a lot of realizations, a lot of things to come to light, which included anywhere. I read this book called The Four Agreements, which is a really great book. I think a lot of people should read. It's a very quick read, but a lot of that is explaining that what the things that people say and they do are reflections of themselves, not of you. And the other thing, realizing that like all of this stress is made up in your mind, and stress, cortisol, flight or flight response, like all of this negative stuff that's going on inside your body is originally a response to predators. Your body creates this stress, the cortisol, the adrenaline, the norepinephrine, all of that stuff so that you can respond to predators or threats against your health. And so when I realized that my iPhone was making me fear for my life, chemically, right? I realized how unhealthy that was. And eventually I was like, all right, I need to cut this. I need to be healthier. I need to, get myself into a better spot. And so a couple of things that I do actively, every morning I meditate right out of bed. One of the best things I did, and there's gonna be a lot of people here who don't think that's all that great, but I outfitted my whole apartment with Alexa dots, the Echo dots. I put my phone in another room when I go to bed. And when I wake up to an alarm from the Echo dot. So my phone does not wake me up. When I wake up, I do not look at my phone, because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. I used to wake up to an alarm on my phone, roll over with my phone, and scroll Instagram for as long as I really could fit before I really needed to get to work. Yeah. Right. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And you just sit there, you like, whether or not you realize that you're judging other people and comparing them to yourself and affecting your own happiness, like you are, like you might think that you're not, but you are 100%. And so that helped me cut down my screen time. I try not to be scrolling. Mike calls it death scrolling because you're just like
Mhm.
scrolling forever and ever and ever. And when you run out of Instagram stuff to scroll, then you go to Facebook or YouTube or Reddit or like whatever, and you just go, and it's terrible for you, I think. Some other things, I try to get outside as much as possible. If you work from home, it can be really hard to keep yourself from staying inside.
Mhm.
And there would be days where, like, especially during the lockdown last year, where I would order my groceries to my house. I would literally leave for nothing but the gym. And if it was a rest day, I wouldn't leave my house at all unless I had to walk my dog. Um, I need to get outside and get sun on myself. I need to feel like open, fresh air.
Mhm.
Like getting outside and like looking up and like there not being a ceiling is so huge, at least for my mental health, for whatever reason.
Okay.
Um, and on top of that, time with friends, whether that is sometimes that's just playing Warzone with my friends. So I don't have to physically be with my friends, but like being around people and talking and just conversing and socializing. I read a really good book a couple years ago called Tribe by, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was really good. It was talking a lot about how we as humans are tribal beings, and we need to be in tribes like packs. Um, I mean, there's a whole nother part to that with Jordan Peterson about like hierarchies, but for the most part, we need to be around other people. And the further we distance ourselves from other people, the more unhealthy we become. And lastly, I'm a huge user of cannabis, which I don't think I need to explain.
No needed explanation
I don't
there.
think I need to go into that one.
No needed explanation there. Uh, um, Something that I ask you all the time on Price Plow is what do you do for recovery? Because I kind of feel like the train just ran me over every single time I'm
Oh,
finished and I'm done working out. Maybe it's because my workout schedule used to be so inconsistent or whatever
yeah.
the case may be, but it's just
Well,
like,
that's a good point. That's a good point. Consistency. Like if you are inconsistent, you're going to get hurt more, or not. I don't know about hurt, but you're going
not
to be more
hurtful.
affected.
Yeah.
You know, the more consistent you become, the more your body can deal with it. I think maybe the most obvious yet least obvious ones are I diet consistently. I sleep really well. I personally sleep with a CPAP. I have sleep apnea, and I think a lot of people have sleep apnea and don't realize it. I would recommend, if you have health insurance, to get a sleep study. I mean, at the very least, that you might need to wear a little mouthpiece that keeps your mouth more open when you sleep. Sleep is definitely the most important thing, but some non obvious ones are at the end of your workout, like calming down. A lot of people like finish their last lift and it's like a big deal, and it's this massive pump and all this energy, and they march straight to their car and they drive home. And I prefer to, a lot of people will say like you should like go to like a turf section of your gym and like lay down and breathe, like try to calm your central nervous system. For
Mhm.
me, I really like to actually just go sit with a friend at the gym. Like if there's someone still training, sit and talk with them while they train and try to just kind of regulate your breathing. I think bringing down your central nervous system and consciously breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth slowly, a couple counts, is really important. And I think that makes a huge deal of difference in how your body begins the recovery start process. If I actually do, I don't know about injure myself, but if I cause something that I need to actually pay attention to, I think I said this on my story for you the other day, but I get into my massage gun. I'll take some hot showers. I'll even cut myself sometimes if I have to. But my recovery is mostly very simple. A lot of it is just a lot of sleep, a lot of eating, and hydration is really important. Hydration is something that admittedly I do not do well enough.
Yeah, I literally live off of coffee and energy drinks, just being 100%
Yeah.
honest with you, dude.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I'm no better. Within like the closest parts to my hands, I have a Gatorade bottle, which is not water.
mhm.
I have a protein shake that I'm drinking right now, which is made with water, but again, is not water.
Mhm.
And I have coffee, which is the opposite of water. It's literally dehydrating.
Oh, just finished that Sour Patch Kids Ghost Energy Blue Raz. And then
Yeah.
once I'm done here, I'll make a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
And I'll
I
just,
get it, dude. I
um,
totally get it.
yeah.
I think I mean, this is like right after I finish that meditation in the morning, I drink 500 milliliters of water.
Really?
And yeah, I think and it's a weird analogy here, but like one of the biggest things that like sex therapists do for couples is they tell them to schedule their sex, and which sounds like really, it sounds stupid. It sounds about as stupid as scheduling your water drinking, right?
Mhm.
But when you like set it to a clock and you live by that, you stick to it, you know. Drinking 500 milliliters of water first thing in the morning is really important. um and I like to, because if you get into meal timing, if you get into meals, I don't like to drink a lot of water with my meals. I think that's kind of bad for your digestion. But between those meals, before I get to that next meal, I need to drink another liter of water.
Okay.
A liter's not all that bad, right? Like you could chug a liter if you needed to, right? So why don't you? You know, you finish a meal, go chug a liter for your next meal.
Okay. And then last and final question, gonna give props to fitness informant, aka Ryan, because your fit butters are the bomb.com. So what is your favorite flavor of fit butters?
So Fit Butter is a lot like energy drinks. It's seasonal for me.
Okay.
Uh, right now, it's been the Cookie Monster one most recently.
The Cookie Monster.
Rory's Cookie
Yep,
Monster.
Rory's Cookies Monster. Dude, the fact that he named it after his daughter,
So
yo,
cute, right?
that's sick, dude. That's like no matter what happens to that brand, boom, there was a
That
product
lives
at one
forever,
point in
right?
time that lives forever and named after Rory. So yo,
Yeah.
that's sick, dude.
I will say I just got the red velvet one in though, and that's going to be the next one that I want to try out. I have that in my closet. If I'm being honest here, I've not really been good about my diet this week, and Fit Butter's helped me out a lot, honestly.
The butters helped you out a lot.
Yeah, because like those parts of the day, like I schedule meals for most of the day. um I can now say that I'm sponsored by Eat Clean, Bro, a really great meal company. But
Mhm.
like end of the day, like I like to not eat full meals. I like to eat like a protein shake and rice cakes.
Right.
And so for those kinds of meals, I'll put Fit Butters on those rice cakes, and it feels like I'm eating dessert, dude.
Have you done the doing a fit butters on the rice cake and then just put it in the freezer and then just let it like freeze and then eat it later on?
No, is this
Yeah,
a thing?
yeah, that's the thing. I saw it on TikTok the other day where someone got a protein spread that I think that they either made with Greek yogurt, maybe a little bit of protein powder sprinkled in, put it on top of the rice cake, whatever flavor you want, caramel, chocolate, you name it, put it in a bag, freezer, freeze it, come back, and then it's literally like an ice cream sandwich that's supposed to be healthier for you. So
I saw a girl do this on Instagram the other day with a protein from animal. Actually, it was an animal athlete. She did something very similar. Use like very very little water to make it into like a peanut butter type thing, like a sludge. I
yep.
saw that, but taking it and freezing it is like another step of insanity.
Yep. So definitely I should try that with fit butters for sure.
Well, if we want to put together all of these things from today, I will be doing that today, and I will be eating them live on my stream tonight.
Oh, okay, sweet. Thanks. Just let me know how that turns out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, dude, I just wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your day just to catch up with me, an old friend, and letting the listeners know what's up and
I
just
love this stuff, man. You know what's the best part of this is it's not my content, so I can just like relax and just talk. You know, like that's I thoroughly love doing this with you because you always have great questions. It's really obvious that you put some time into thinking about that. I think you put more time into your podcast than I do into mine, which makes me want to step my game up. Um, but I'm a very candid person, so I think you seem to be very organized and planned.
that's just my
That's good though. Like if you
Yeah.
if you have, I mean, like if you have that kind of personality, that's good to be that way. For myself, I'm like so opposite. Some of my best conversations and best pieces of content are like literally me just turning on the camera and just going. So, but you make me want to like plan more, which is it's I mean it's a good thing. It's never a bad thing.
Off air, I'll tell you a Bollywood story.
Oh yeah.
About my OCD and like or organizing and stuff. I'll tell you off air, but yeah, man, just if there's anything that you would like to say to the listeners before we head out, this is your time.
That's can I ask you who is your normal consumer of content Inspire? Like, can you describe that person to me?
That's a really good question. I've had Taylor Brooks. I've had Aaron Gomez. I've had individuals from like all over that'll just
Yeah.
listen to Content Inspire because they're fans of the supplement industry, whether they're
Yeah.
from Ghost or they just love supplements in general. And when they hear a person's why and it helps them connect and maybe just helps them figure out what they want. So I think the individuals that are listening to it could easily be from the age group from 20 to 30, 35, around there. That's the target demographic. And best part of my day is when I drop an episode and somebody's listening to it, whether they're working out or just at home, and they tell me that they're excited that they've missed the podcast. That, dude, it's the best part of my day.
So the people, you think the people that listen to this really care about people's why, and they care about learning about other people in the industry or where they're going, whether or not it's in fitness industry or whatever. Because I think you also kind of get outside of the fitness industry as well. But I think that I'll share a story that might be important for people that are in that kind of situation. Last year was a really transformative year for me. I think it was for a lot of people getting through 2020. I went through a really, really bad breakup earlier in the year. And late in the year, I took a trip to see some, we'll say, online friends of mine. You know, it may or may not have been business related. I don't want people to figure out where I actually went for this, but in the middle of it, as I was going out, I had been under a lot of stress. We talked about stress this episode, and I had been struggling with my direction. You know, am I doing what I need to be doing? Am I going where I need to be going? Am I making the right decisions? And halfway through, it was like 1 a.m. I was out with these friends of mine, and we were doing nothing but sitting in the middle of this grassy knoll eating Korean barbecue tacos, which was really kind of a really odd combination. And I've realized to myself that I'm exactly where I need to be. I may not be where I am going to be, but where I am right now, I am exactly where I need to be. And we are in such an interesting age right now where you could meet someone on Instagram and a month later you could be hanging out with that person. You could be creating a business with that person. My business partner lives in Austin, Texas. I live in New Jersey. Like, you have the whole world at your fingertips. All you need to do is go. And you are exactly where you need to be. You may need to light a fire in your ass and get moving to where you're going to be going, but we are all where we are supposed to be. And that was really comforting for me to realize, is that wherever I'm going, but right now I'm good where I am. You don't need to worry about it.
Okay. Damn.
So if people are watching this or listening to this podcast, I don't think you have video, right? This is just sound.
Just sound, but I think I might upload this to YouTube the second.
Okay.
Yeah,
My shoulders are looking particularly capped today, so if you do want to upload this video, I won't be mad. But I think that a lot of people who listen to these types of podcasts are listening for some sort of, not from myself, from when you have Dan Larenko on or people like that. They're looking for some sort of inspiration or some sort of origin story. A story of where they can create their thing that will have a why, right? They might not have a thing yet. They might not even have a why yet. But for me, it was really important, dude. Like, when I was so stressed out about this whole journey of mine, I was neglecting the fact that I create daily content for a YouTube that has 25,000 subscribers. I was neglecting the fact that the site that I work with gets 200,000 unique visitors a month. I was neglecting all of the things that I currently am able to have the honor of working with. And I was so worried about what I should be doing that I forgot where I was there. And so I think that people that are looking for that kind of inspiration, if they really enjoy other people's whys, and they're looking for their own, it was something that I wanted to share from that moment, because it made me realize that, you know, we all started somewhere. We're all on our way somewhere, and where you are right now might not be where you want to be, but it's okay where you are.
Damn.
I'm
That,
not good at motivational talks, but that was how I
that
wanted to word that.
That one was a 10 out of 10. That was fire. That was gold, my dude. And yeah, no, that made me realize why I started Content Inspire, because for the longest time ever, I wasn't going for my why. Just being honest with you. So
Well, we talked about you not really being, I don't want to say you not being good at YouTube, but you realizing that YouTube wasn't your thing, that the vlog idea, right?
yeah.
Because, and I think that a lot of people do this. And I think you probably could say you were emulating Max Tuning or Christian Guzman, whatever. Like I think we all do it. Danny even criticized me that my vlogs come off a little bit ghosty. Like it's the content that we consume helps us create. There is inspiration in there, no matter what you want to say about it. So you finding yourself in this audio podcast or podcasting instead of content in a vlog form, I think is really important, because when you consciously decided, you know what, YouTube isn't for me, I think that was really important, saying like, I don't need to follow those people. I need to follow my people, my thing.
Yeah, we talked about it off air, but I realized that YouTube is not the right platform for me. That what comes out more organically is podcasting, setting up
Yeah.
the interviews, finding out what people's why are, or setting up an interview question that someone will say, damn, that's a good question. Or just like, if that episode is able to help even just one listener, bro, I'm happy.
I think, well, I think this is a really good point, right? There are people who like, they create so much that just their life is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, and to a lot of people, I'll give you a really good example when I finish this point. To a lot of people, there are folks who are just as talented and interesting and brilliant at their skill, being pulling that out of other people. So you pulling that why out of all of these guests is just as interesting as other folks creating Alpha Land, right? So a really, really good example of this would be Joe Rogan. Joe
Mm-hmm.
Rogan has never been a creator of his own things, right? He has been the commentator on Fear Factor,
Mm-hmm.
right, where he showed other people doing crazy shit. He never did the crazy shit. He's a commentator on the UFC, where other people are fighting. He's not fighting. And he's an incredible podcast host where he pulls that out of other people. That's not to say that Joe doesn't do cool stuff. Joe is actually an incredible martial artist. He's a very interesting person, but that's not the content he chooses to make, right? He realized that the content that he makes really well is pulling that out of other people. And I think that you do that really well. And there's no shame in realizing, I'm not going to be a vlog guy. I'm going to be that interview guy.
Hey, if that's the passion that I found last year on August 3rd, because August 3rd is when I started Content Inspire. So I think it's about,
Look at that.
yeah, I know, insane. Um, hey man, I'm loving it. I'm loving the ride, and I just want to see how far it takes me, because literally ever since I started this podcast, it's just meeting people, just having fun, networking, and just having fun, bro.
That's awesome. I think that's the most important part of this, is just enjoying what you do. Um, and we can figure out how you can make money off of it later.
Nice. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we'll talk about that off air for
Yeah,
sure.
of course.
Um,
So let me ask you. This is the third season kicking off now, right?
the third season kicked off, and it kicked off with Matt Muttner. And it actually
Great guy.
launched on Monday. Yeah, shit, it did launch on Monday. Yeah, it launched on Monday.
The second,
Yep.
one day before your year. Wow, how cool is that?
And that was episode 48. So just to damn, that workload of 2 episodes a week, and then season 2, and then now finally in season 3. Yeah, so it's been a fun ride, dude.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Dude, it's been awesome. So I'm gonna link everything of yours down in the bio below.
Cool.
And listeners, hope you love this episode. And till next time.
Peace.